It is me, Samara Brewer here, getting you another lovely rant video. And basically, as like the thumbnail which you saw for the women video, is being it on. The rant thing which I'm going to be on is on the Glasgow Bin Lorry crash and what happened to the driver Harry Clark. Because basically I was on TV and well, I'll just read it to you from teletext on what it said, and then I'll be giving my frank opinion on what's happening.
Barely a year after a major landslide closed it, the Danny Parish is in Appleby now.
Don't know where Appleby is, and I don't care where Appleby is. Anyways, I won't be going to Appleby. This soon I'll be going to Newcastle. For me, I can't wait. To think a whole week in Newcastle. Around about, anyways. The joys of holidays. Hopefully the weather won't be like, oh, blech, outside right now here in Balliter. Where was I? Around the UK. It was on News Index already. Then go on to Scotland, because obviously, well, what other kind of country could get worse weather than, well, grey clouds and wind and milk outside, when it comes to the weather. And top story says, well, 3 of the ones are thinks about body find, certain to move forward with IndieRef 2, but the main one is basically all on the Bin Lorry death's driver getting banned. Yep, he's getting banned. But let's see what it said together. And it says here, and I quote, the driver of the bin lorry that crashed in Glasgow, killing 6 people, has been banned from driving for 3 years. Harry Clark, who was basically the guy who was driving the bin lorry and crashed, basically had a blackout or something, and ended up having his bin lorry go and plowing through the streets, killing 6 people and injuring a bunch of people. And basically, as we all knew, the court systems refused to, basically they refused to prosecute him. DVLA said that they might prosecute him, but chose not to, as pretty much seen as they gave him his driving license and stuff. Pretty much they would just have been shooting themselves in the foot, pretty much. But now it looks like Harry Clark is finally getting his comeuppance for lying about his medical to his employers, thinking he could get away with it. It says here that not only has he been banned from driving for 3 years, but it also says, as it continues, Harry Clark was also ordered to carry out 150 hours of unpaid work and will be tagged for 4 months. At an earlier hearing, Clark, age 60, admitted culpable and reckless driving 9 months after the fatal crash. He had his license withdrawn for medical reasons, following the Bin Lorry crash on 22nd of December 2014. So, basically for me, I'm not surprised or disappointed in whatever happened to Harry Clark. Because I'd say this kind of thing with him getting thingied for the ban on driving, him getting tagged, and him having to do unpaid work. Basically, well, he didn't get sent to jail for killing those 6 people. By letting them getting squished to the size of the hat and driving over them and making them get squished to the size of a pancake on the run up to Christmas. Basically, he may not have gotten sent to jail, but basically you could say that this kind of thing for Harry Clark could be so bad. You could argue inside Harry Clark, you could have him have this voice thing in his head going that he actually wishes he went to jail. I mean, heck, he's been 150 hours unpaid work. That equivalent to think about, I'd say, around about a week of unpaid work. More than likely with him being tagged, it'll be with a tag-along thing where basically if he goes out of a certain range or whatever, an alarm thing goes off, and basically if they do it enough, and they'll get more than likely a worse punishment. And on top of that, it's 1 week unpaid work and getting tag-along for 4 months. He's also getting banned from driving for 3 years. And basically, in all likelihood, he won't wind up being in a job where he is behind the wheel of any vehicle, even if it's a milk van. Basically, he won't be able to have something a job via in transportation anytime soon. Oh, it's on the news right now. It's on the police side, on Scottish News.
The Prime Minister Nicola Sturgeon has said a letter formally asking the Prime Minister to leave the May for powers to hold another independence referendum is about the pursuit of self-determination.
Yay.
The government has already indicated that any referendum must wait until Brexit is complete. Our Brian Taylor is at the time.
Very much indeed. This is the letter from the Prime Minister to the Prime Minister. In it, the Sturgeon wishes Theresa May well in the Brexit negotiations, but says that there is a right for Scotland of self-determination in parallel with those Brexit negotiations. She wants a referendum between autumn 2018 and spring 2019. She also says in the letter that she believes there is no rational reason for the Prime Minister to refuse talks now.
Oh, I think a lot of us can come up with reasons for why she'd want to prevent Scotland from being independent, because she sees Theresa May sees Scotland as in best case, yes, being nice and stuff, Scotland would be seen by Westminster as a giant piggy bank which they could raid whenever on earth they liked. And in the most brutal case, we're a dumping ground where anyone can go and toss their shit into a pile, and leave it to go and, rust and fall to bits and stuff. For Westminster, they will never, ever allow Scotland to leave the United Kingdom, Northern Ireland too, as long as Brexit has happened. because Westminster knows for a fact that because of the whole Brexit thing, there is no middle ground. In the 2014 referendum, there was a middle ground. Because, well,
In Glasgow, killing 6 people in December 2014, has been banned from driving for 3 years. He will have to wear an electronic tag for a separate driving offence. Katrina Benson is outside Glasgow Sheriff Court. Katrina.
This is the thing on.
Well, Emma, Harry Clark arrived here this morning. He's away now, but when he came here, he was aware that he could face the possibility of a custodial sentence. Now, this is the same court where the fatal accident inquiry was held into the crash of the bin lorry that he'd been driving in December 2014 that killed 6 people. Now, he was never prosecuted for the bin lorry crash, but the inquiry heard it could have been avoided if he had not lied about his medical history of blacking out and fainting. Now, after the crash, his licence was eventually revoked, but he got back behind the wheel again. On the 20th of September 2015, just 9 months after the crash, neighbours say that they saw Harry Clark getting into his car in the resident's car park and drive onto the road, and that the car was driven back to its usual space around 2 hours later. Now, in his defence, Harry Clark accepted he had driven the car, but only 30 yards from the resident's car park to his front door and back. Now, last month he pleaded guilty to culpable and reckless driving, that he knew or should have known he was unfit to drive following the bin lorry crash, and another episode 4.5 years earlier when he lost consciousness or had an episode of altered awareness at the wheel of a stationary bus. Now, sentencing him today to a community payback order, which includes a restriction of his liberty from 7 in the evening till 7 in the morning for 4 months, 150 hours of unpaid work, and a ban from driving for the next 3 years. The Sheriff Martin Jones QC told him he must have been acutely aware of the consequences if he lost consciousness while driving, and he said his actions had been wholly irresponsible. Emma.
For me, I am not surprised with that one teeny tiny bit. I mean, seriously. It's almost like Harry Clark thinks that because he wasn't being prosecuted for killing 6 people and injuring dozens, that he can go, okay, I'm not getting prosecuted. I can do whatever the hell I like behind the steering wheel of my fucking car. Sorry for the swearing. Just things like what happened with the inquiry into the Glasgow Bin Lorry crash is a joke. Because the DVLA and nobody wanted to prosecute that driver Harry Clark. It was as if they were going to the families of those 6 people who ended up getting killed. I don't give a shit. Your family members or fuck all. Go find somebody else who does give an actual shit in your family member's death. Because that's what, in a sense, they were saying. And even though they didn't say it to their face, that's pretty much in effect what they were saying. But they didn't care about the women and family members of the 2 families being dead and all that lot. They just did not care one single teeny tiny bit. And in a sense, the inquiry, if anyone could actually call it that, it basically, in effect, committed suicide. It did. Because not one of the guilty parties ended up getting prosecuted. And when the court said that Harry Clark couldn't be prosecuted, instead of hoping on, can't be prosecuted, I bet a lot of people, including me, would end up saying it was more like, won't be getting prosecuted. Anyways, pretty much when it comes to Harry Clark, he could have been stopped, but loads of people chose not to. Anyways, my guess is that the DVLA knew that Harry Clark had blackouts. Once for first bus, they could have went and told Plymouth Glasgow City Council the teen went and fainted on on a stationary bus. But did they? No. So in my opinion, the DVLA, Glasgow City Council, First Bus, and especially Harry Clark are all guilty. And they have the blood of those 6 people who died on their hands, but none more so than Harry Clark. At first, they'd have pretty much a few drops here and there of blood for not bothering to tell Glasgow City Council the fact that because of his medical condition, and he ended up nearly getting fired from First Bus, not to mention the whole thing on the stationary bus. Glasgow City Council, they have a few more drops of blood than First Bus on their hands for employing him, and that kind of thing. And basically, with even more blood on their hands, would be the DVLA for actually thinking in the Harry Clark's DVLA license, and only temporarily thinking it away due to like his medical condition thing. And I think it was. Anyways, but the person who has the most blood on their hands is indefinitely Harry Clark himself. His hands are pretty much drowned in the blood of those 6 people he mowed over in that bin lorry. And one thing's for sure, what many people I'd say would definitely agree on, and that was during the inquiry, if Harry Clark wouldn't be getting judged in a court of law for killing those 6 people, then ultimately he'd be getting judged in a court of God. And one thing's for sure, I will be damn well surprised if I see people like Harry Clark who go and lie their heads off thinking I can go ahead and do whatever I like and don't give a fuck on whatever happens, even if I kill somebody because of my actions, end up going into heaven. For me, I don't think that Harry Clark deserves to go into heaven for what he done, because he knew about his medical condition, and he'd known about it for a long time. He lied to his employers about it, thinking he could get away with it. He ended up going and Fleming and having a blackout on a Fleming bin lorry, hurting dozens of people and killing 6 people who had basically done nothing to deserve getting flattened to the size of pancakes whilst they were just doing more than likely their Christmas shopping in the run up to Christmas. And when he thought that he'd gotten away with it with the DVLA in the court system saying that he couldn't get prosecuted. In the end, karma came back to bite him on the backside. Also, when it comes to Scottish independence, so the thing is, as long as Brexit has happened, for Scotland it will always want its independence now. And also, Westminster will continue to refuse it, because they know that there is no middle ground. And the last referendum, before the newsing for the whole Bin Lorry crash thing came up, pretty much into the last referendum back in 2014, which was the same year when the Glasgow Bin Lorry crash happened. Pretty much there was a middle ground, and that was Devo Max. Because of Devo Max, we would still be in the UK, still be in the EU, but we'd have more say on how we'd be, governing ourselves. But the thing is now, for all of us people in Scotland, people who were like my dad voted against being independent, and people like me who voted for it, for being independent, basically we now have a dilemma on our hands. And that is, if Scotland wants to stay in the EU, it'll have to leave the United Kingdom and become an independent country. But if it wants to stay in the UK, then it'll have to leave the European Union. And one thing's for sure, I'd say that the Scottish government has every single right to ask for another independence referendum. Because former Prime Minister David Cameron broke his word to the people of Scotland when he said that people voting for the flimin' Scotland to stay in the Union wouldn't be a vote for the flimin' Union to go ahead and leave flimin' the EU. Well, that's me. I've pretty much had it with this rant. Well, if you like this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Comment on whatever you like down below, whether it's Scottish independence, Bin Lorry crash, whatever, I don't care. I don't really mind at all. And if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, then go ahead. So, bye!